Okay, y'all, I started doing a happy dance when this one came on. So, you know how we've been looking at the stars and Pleiades and the churches in Revelation, and how they have the same kind of like shape to where those churches are and where the stars are in Pleiades. And Orion is Orion, not Ryan, but Orion is also talked about in the book of Job, as well as the Pleiades cluster of stars there. Okay, so in this dream, she's going to tell you about this. Remember what my theory has been, and we kind of made that more of a fact instead of a theory in the book of Jude, because it does talk about the wandering stars, that they are doomed to be in darkness. So that means that they're in trouble, okay? And she's going to tell you some things in this dream that are going to kind of knock your socks off if you've been following with the whole rapture, darkness, stars type of symbology that we've been following on this channel.
Important and maybe that I could share with people. So a few months ago, I did have a dream. Some people would call it a rapture dream. Some people would call it a catching up, caught up in the sky. I'm just going to call it for what it is and tell you what my dream was. But the way that it started in my dream was I was in a car driving all by myself, and I was heading down a straight road. It seemed to be like I was in the middle of a field, which I know is kind of a normal thing that people who have rapture dreams, they seem to be in the middle of a field. Mm-hmm. I was on a road driving, but on either side.
I will say I can testify to that as well. Several of the dreams that I've had started out in a field, and so did like Carl Gallup's dream as well. So anytime there's a field mentioned, I would pay attention to it and maybe give it some credibility just for that purpose, and then look at the other parts of it and see if it lines up with Scripture.
Me on the right and the left, there was just nothing. It just seemed like flat lands all the way from right to left. And then driving right in front of me, there was like a mountainscape. So I could see the mountains in front of me going down this road, the straight road. And as I was driving, it had to have either been twilight or dusk in the morning. I'm guessing, actually I'm not going to guess. I'm just going to say
Okay, I just want to insert a little bit here. So in my dream with the darkness, I described it 8 years ago as being eerie twilight. Okay, so there's a lot of credibility here for connecting to my dream.
I was driving, I looked up to my right and I saw the sun, and the sun started turning dark. And I was like, that is really weird. I wonder if there is a fire or something that was covering the sun. And then when I looked to my left, I saw the moon, and the moon became very dark. How I saw the sun and the moon at the same time, I don't know. Could have been north and south. I don't know. All I can tell you is I saw the sun, and it got dark, and then the moon kind of turned to like this dark, deep red. And I was like, man, this is really, really weird. So I don't know if I stopped my car, but I looked up through the windshield and looked at the sky. And when I saw the sky, I saw each star begin to get like extremely bright, brighter than any star. And when I looked up at them, they began to connect to one another with straight lines. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. And I saw.
So I wonder if she's seeing them, you know, how the constellations are made by drawing lines to the stars. I wonder if she's seeing that to give her a clue that these are the constellations, not just a random star, but the constellations.
What I now know is Orion. I knew it was Orion in my dream, but I didn't know what Orion was even now. I had to look that up, which becomes important later. But it's like I knew I saw Orion, and then God.
And in Scripture, he talks about who can loose the belt of Orion. And I've just recently learned that those three stars that they just show there, the middle one kind of drips down or drifts a little bit south from the line of stars at certain times of the year, and then it goes back into the line at other times of the year. So when God was saying that he actually loosens the belt of Orion, that was not just I'm God and I created everything. That was literal. Like, he literally does. Okay.
Whispered, I placed each star purposefully, and then the stars got super bright and they started getting bigger and bigger and bigger, like they were coming down, like the stars were falling down. And it was almost as if the stars, as they were coming down, I thought they were like angels, even though I didn't see them flying everywhere, but they were coming down and getting bigger. And for some reason in my dream, the stars were angels, which God did say he placed them all perfectly, and that some stars were angels in the Bible. Mm-hmm. But anyway, as that happened, and I felt this shift in the atmosphere, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think this is the rapture. And as I said that, the power of God hit me in my car, and I can just feel it even as I tell this story. It hit me in my car, and I had instant peace, and it was the power of God. Like, it was strong, and this peace instantly fell over me, and my head just went back, my hands dropped down, and I just knew I was going home. It was phenomenal. I wish I could explain it better, but the peace just washed over me, and it was like, it's done. And all of the stresses of the entire world and everything that we go through on a daily basis just disappeared. And as I had that peace, I literally felt my glorified body being lifted out of my earthly body, or my spirit, whatever it was being lifted out of my earthly body. And it was so powerful. And then I woke up. I would have loved to say that I went to heaven.
Okay, I think I forgot to give you this at the beginning, but it's Cloud 9 blessing. Sorry, there's a glare. There's a lot of sunshine right here right now. Rapture dream, chaos awaits right after the rapture, the final exit. So I think there might be more dreams on this from different people, and I haven't really gotten to that yet. If there's anything that I think is noteworthy, I will put that on in a different little segment here on a different video. But I wanted to tell you that, sometimes I've said this a couple times, but sometimes people see like parts of the rapture, but they may not see it in sequential order. They might see the first part, or the last part, or the middle part, or something like that. He doesn't give it to us usually all in one person's dream. So it's kind of for us to put the pieces of the puzzle together again. Jesus likes puzzles, right? We're kind of learning that. So in my dream, I saw kind of like right after what she saw with the stars coming down. So I had to kind of infer that these were stars by another dream that I had, okay? So you see hers here where the stars are coming down. She knows they're angels. I would say to you now with pretty much 99% certainty that these are not good angels, that they are in fact bad angels that have been imprisoned in these constellations, okay? And because of that, the darkness is going to spread out of their bodies, and that's what's going to make everything black. Now, she did see that the sun had changed and was getting darker. And like in my dream, I say, it kind of reminds me of when the eclipse happened. Like there was some kind of change to the way that the light was looking. And everybody was kind of like starting to like be a little weird and like something kind of panicking almost, because we could tell it wasn't supposed to be doing that, okay, if that makes sense, all right? And then she also saw the moon changing colors to this reddish color. And I will say this too, there is a pattern with like when a rapture happens, that these kinds of signs seem to be like, it's a pattern for God. So like the moon's going to get dark. The sun's going to get dark, the moon's going to turn to blood, and then, there's going to be some kind of powers in the heavens that are shaken, and then there's going to be a portal or a dimensional hole that's going to open up or roll back in order for us to get to him or for him to bring people up. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to happen at this first rapture too, which is in Revelation chapter 12, the sign of the dragon. So see, when the dragon sweeps his tail and the stars are going to fall down, those are not literal stars like the sun, okay? So because if that hit the earth, then the whole earth would just be wiped out, right? But these are actually angel stars, so it is a symbol there, but they're the fallen angels, okay? And then the second part of this is, now she saw the rapture and the light and stuff like that. There is a little part in the book of Joel that's going to happen before we actually go up. And then the other dream that I had was I was up in space with Jesus, and behind him I knew it was in space, but there were no stars behind him. I didn't see any distant stars or anything. So it's like they were gone, okay? And so that's what made me think that these were stars that fell down, because there were no stars up there, okay? And then her dream kind of validates that she saw the very beginning of that whole process to happen. And so it's just a lot of confirmation, y'all. I'm telling you that there's just something exciting about this that's about to happen here. And so if you were on the fence about, well, I don't know if the darkness is going to happen, and I don't know if this, and I don't know if that, well, this dream right here tells you that we're all hearing from the same God, okay? Because it all lines up. All right. So if there's anything else in this video, I'll put another one out here. I don't think this one really needs a lot of interpretation besides like filling in the little puzzle pieces of the dreams that I've had. But, if you guys know of anybody else that's having dreams about the stars falling or darkness coming from the stars, put that in the comment boxes, and I'd like to take a look at it if you guys are poking around some things that I haven't seen yet. And we'll kind of see if we can figure out anything else about this, how the stars are related to the rapture, okay? All right, I love you guys.